So, first of all, Snoop Dogg, let's talk about the sandbox. Snoop Dogg has dropped 10,000 playable sandbox avatar NFTs, and they're called the doggies. And if you haven't seen them yet, they're fabulous. They all look like him in some iteration, but they have different outfits and different things going on. And this is coming off of his incredibly popular Super Bowl halftime performance, which made some of us simultaneously feel heard and feel old. But I think Snoop Dogg has really done an amazing thing, and his doggies collection is so popular that the sandbox price overall is up close to 10% since that launch announcement. So it is in tandem with some larger market gains, but it is really, it's kind of like the when the internet was dawning and people started saying content is king. It's really the same sort of thing. This sort of application, killer app, killer NFT, is driving the value of these platforms because they can be strong enough, I think, to pull a user over and get them over the hump of getting engaged with a platform. What do you think about that, Mariana?
Well, the reason why I added that particular article was this whole idea that NFTs actually, NFT drops and the value of the NFT drops impacts the token. And that is the first time that it's actually happened with a token economy like Sandbox.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
Really
And I,
fascinating was
yeah.
that their their currency, their cryptocurrency went up subsequent a really interesting NFTs drop. So what I thought was the most fascinating thing about this is that here you have a brand like Snoop Dogg, and he has been doing quite a bit in the space. He was co-launching an NFTs marketplace with crypto.com, and he did the Super Bowl show lately. So he's really done a lot, with his brand in the last year, a lot more than, ever before. That a branding of this kind creates a successful NFTs drop, but that then NFTs drop actually brands the underlying company and the underlying currency. So that I thought was breakthrough. And I feel that we will see a lot more connections like this happening in the market in this year.
I think that's really true. And I think another thing that's interesting about this is it's part artwork, but it's really also about identity and belonging to a community. And it looks like there's going to be some utility to this NFT in that it's going to invite you to special events, and you're going to get sort of a VIP pass in as a result of that connection. And I think this idea that NFTs are more than artwork, but they're sort of your entrance pass to a lot of things that are happening in our current world. I think that's a really important point.
Well, yeah, NFTs are sort of, in my mind, doing few functions at the moment, right? One function is to create your community. And if you're delivering a media product or consumer's product of any kind, you prefer to have an engaged community of users, viewers, participants in a game, etc., than you would at any other time in history because your competition has it. So it's almost everyone on planet Earth is doing NFTs drops because it creates a very valuable interaction and engagement with consumers. So, from that perspective, if you're in that business, if you're in the media business, if you're in the games business, if you're in the consumer products and services business, you almost have to have that NFTs drop to create that what you're describing, like that sort of a club slash engagement, right? With tokens though, you can do a lot more things than with NFTs. You talk to a lot of these successful NFTs drops, and you ask people who are managing the Discord channel, and you're like, well, what did you get paid to do this 24/7 function? And they'll say to you, oh, I got an NFT or two or three NFTs or whatever. So they got paid in NFTs. But if the NFTs don't grow in value, at some point they will have to get paid in, either in fiat or in some cryptocurrency or in some equity. So there has to be, I would say, step two to that NFTs drop.
I think that's really true. Michael, did you have a question or a comment? Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm sort of new to all this. I'm sort of advanced, very much of an advanced, very amateur at this NFT, crypto business. I have friends all around me that are pretty deep into it though.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to play catch up. They just don't have the time to really sit with me and explain exactly what they do,
Mm-hmm.
and how it works. But have you have you seen anybody in the marketplace? Well, you mentioned something interesting a second ago, which is why I raised my hand about tying these to an actual currency. And I think that's a really critical point here because there really seems to be no benchmark. There's a lot of trading going on and the fluctuations and the volatility and the pricing of these. But the truth is that they're not really following, they're not running congruently with, like, when the dollar goes up, they go up, or the Chinese, yen goes up, or whatever, not the yen, but whatever the Chinese currency is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if that's something that we're going to start seeing more of. Is there going to be like a currency that sort of kind of starts tracking with these? Because
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, that
yeah.
exists. That exists now, and that's called a
Give me an
stable.
example.
It's called a stable coin, and Mariana can probably give you more specific examples. But there's kind of different ways to look at cryptocurrency. One is to look at it as a currency that's tied to sort of the traditional economy, and those are more of the stable coins, but it's also a sense of creating a new economy, especially among younger people that weren't getting a lot of help out of the old economy. I don't know, Mariana, do you want to jump in a little?
Yeah, I think that question comes up a lot. Um, you know, all cryptocurrencies are pegged to a US dollar at the moment, so you can kind of see how that works. But at the end of the day, in order to create an efficient economy, which they're not at the moment, they're all somewhat startups when you think about it, although they,
Mariana, I don't agree with that. That it's pegged to the U.S. dollar. I don't agree with that at all.
well, if you
I
look
mean,
at the, no, what I mean, if you look at it on an exchange, you can see what its value is in US dollars, that not pegged
oh, but
in terms of
that's a different.
tracking.
That's different. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
you
no,
I'm sure you can convert the value of any of these
yeah,
bitcoins
yeah.
to like
So,
to a specific country's currency.
yeah, yes, but
Everything.
at the moment it's all based on the US dollar value. So if you go to an exchange, what I'm trying to say, it's not tracking, dollar for dollar. It just says, ETH is worth, $2,900 today, and Bitcoin is worth $47,000 today. But you can always see what the value is, based on the US dollar. So in some sense, the market is tracking the value of each cryptocurrency. But to your point, you do need to actually create an efficient economy with the tokenized economies, so that it's tied to the cash flows and the actual performance of the company, et cetera, of the venture, of the economy, whatever you want to call it. So yes, all the companies that I know that are in the space are working on that. That is something that is the goal of creation of these new economies, is that you create a space. And actually, the latest development is a thing called the syndicate, which is a DAO that allows, it's a layer protocol that allows everyone to invest into the actual economy they're part of. So you're creating almost like an Uber crowdfunding platform, where everyone who's providing services and benefiting from services in that economy can also invest in it using this layer protocol. And A16Z is invested in this, on all the top tier VCs. So it's going in this direction. It's still in a startup phase.
Right. No, I appreciate that. My second question was, listen, the other thing too is, I mean, just like we had a dramatic, worldwide shift very quickly with COVID, and people went from working in offices to home, and Zoom took off, came out of nowhere to address that need. It's very possible that some of the volatility happening in the world that we're all aware of in Eastern Europe and whatever, it's very possible that this could be an impetus for some type of a shift as well into, this is a more viable currency, given what's happening in terms of the SWIFT payments and that they're being cut off in Russia. And so, anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I don't know that the value is necessarily based on anything, substantial. I think it's a lot of volatility, obviously, based on hype. And that's the problem that you have right now is that, there are people making money, but there's also people losing a lot of money too. As opposed to when you're buying like futures on currency and that, which I have a lot of experience arbitraging those type of investment and instrument, those financial instruments. There's something you always know, like, I mean, there's an FX market for the dollar against the New Zealand, currency or Australian or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think, Michael, you need to think about, well, I shouldn't say you need to think about, but it's helpful to think about this as just a part of your investment strategy. And I'm sure you've invested before, and you know that you have your high risk, high yield items, and you have your very stable items. And this is not going to be like investing in bonds, right? This is your high risk, high potential end of your investment strategy for now. I think at some point this will level out somewhat, but should you bet the entire farm on a particular NFT? Probably not. But that said, there are opportunities there, and
Hmm.
we're still very early. You're definitely, you may feel late to the party, but you're not. There's still so much opportunity in this space. But I think in terms of value, one of the things that we're seeing that's very big difference between, I think, how we considered value before and how we're beginning to see value now is that the community is the value, right? And you determine whether you want to participate partly because you want to earn money, but the most successful kinds of participation are also because you believe in the community, you believe in the DAO, you believe in the group of people that are putting this event together, this idea, this NFT, this marketplace, the DAO, and it's a different strategy that's going to take a while to take hold. But I think there's enough hunger among people who feel left out of the traditional economy that this is really going to be a thing going forward.
Okay. My second question quickly is just that, are you familiar at all with any models around investment models around, I don't know if you know the concept of like creating a security around a piece of artwork or a classic car or a piece of real estate where they sell shares into that entity. So they file
Uh-huh.
that. Is there anybody doing that with NFTs? Like, where in other words, like they're creating an NFT, they're saying the value of that is $50,000 and we're selling 20,000 shares into that, and people can
Sure.
invest, $200 or $500 or whatever it
Sure.
may be in that particular entity.
Right. I mean, there's fractionalization in the NFT market, just like there is in other investment markets, crowdfunding kind of markets, and we're also seeing NFTs and this sort of fractionalized investment tied to physical goods, whether it's whiskey or wine or diamonds or art or and the thing about NFTs is the non-fungible part, meaning, it's not one for one, makes it really an ideal instrument for fractionalizing certain kinds of non-fungible assets like art and wine.
Okay, well, I appreciate the insight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Stick around and let us know if you have any other questions. Andy, I wanted to invite you to ask questions or give us a comment.
Oh, I'm just hanging out. I'm into the space. Appreciate it.
Andy, why don't you tell us why you got into the space and what's important about it to you?
All right. So I've been an entrepreneur for 22 years since I was 12. Um, ties into that. It ties into basically everything that I've had proclivities and strengths to. So I just kind of like I've looked at crypto for like 8 years, but then like I started looking at altcoins like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really like deep dive until a year ago on any of this. I'm still not really invested because I'm broke, but I'm heavily energy and time invested.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this is probably going to be like, unless something changes, like if this is the environment and the growth rate, like obviously if it's anything like this, and like, yeah, this is like my focus indefinitely now. So.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is because it can uplift people. It's interesting, it's fun, it's cool. It brings people together in a positive way. It gives me more faith in people rather than other ways that end up giving me less.
Yeah, that's really cool. Can you elaborate on that last thought? Because
I
I'm
can
really
elaborate
interested.
endlessly.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. Please share.
Which point was the last one?
The last point was it gives you more faith in people and not less.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's different environments that show me the brighter, the darker sides of the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is like on the like more positive side mostly.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I feel in many ways this space is it gives me hope in a new way of doing things. And anytime there's a new way of doing things, of course there's discomfort because it's a new way of doing things, but there's also opportunity. And there may be opportunities for people who wouldn't traditionally have a lot of opportunities. And to me, that's a really important thing. Now, Michael, you mentioned the
Yeah.
idea
What you
about
just
what
said,
was going.
100%.
Yeah, Michael, you talked a little bit about how the world is becoming more volatile, and you mentioned Ukraine, and we definitely have some interesting things going on in that space right now in terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and donations, and going to the Ukrainian government. Um, they're they're accepting cryptocurrency donations, and obviously, you have to be careful where you send those donations to, just like any other kind of fundraiser. But it's also interesting the notion that I read another article that says maybe this altcoin or Bitcoin will be a double edged sword because there are some people who are speculating that it may allow Russia to work around sanctions, but other people speculating that this will allow people in Ukraine who need access to funds to get or move funds. Mariana, did you have any thoughts about that you wanted to share?
Oh, well, I think clearly, as Rish pointed out in his tweet yesterday, Rish Lotlikar from Superworld, we're all Ukrainian right now. So, we have to stay united against a war and, all the implications of what war brings to humanity. We can kind of stand on the sidelines and accept it. So I agree that trying to help people who are, I think the latest estimate is over 4 million people may be displaced. And if you ever seen from their homes, if you ever seen the Human Flow film, which had huge impact on me, from participant pictures a few years ago when there was about 7 to 8 million people that were displaced from their homes due to a variety of wars in Syria and, places like that. We don't need to add 4 million people to that number. The situation was already a very dire situation. So I agree that the cryptocurrency community that's standing behind Ukraine and trying to help people not be displaced from their lives over a useless and pointless war is definitely the right approach. Whether Russia is hacking into accounts and trying to get cryptocurrency for their benefit, etc. That this is happening every day in cryptocurrency. So again, and the community is united against these hackers and people who are trying to scam, hardworking people like Andy and Adrian and you, Jeanette, who are working to build this marketplace. So yeah, I'm against that, of course, and trying to help any regulator that's trying to stop that. I'm on board. Hi, Adrian.
Welcome, Adrian.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself? We're so glad to see you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Adrian Ashley. I'm the founder of Foxies.art, Foxies.art. We are a 10K generative NFT project launching to educate 1 million women and girls in blockchain development and entrepreneurship. It kind of combines all of my history. I've been in blockchain since 2009. Well, I got my first Bitcoin in 2009. I didn't know what it was. Really, 2012, I started full time. And I help people design projects to drive mainstream adoption of blockchain.
How are the Foxes doing? I saw the gas fees are super low this morning.
Oh, thank God, because yesterday they were $250. And we started on Polygon on 2/22/22 because I thought that was a magical number. And then the day we launched, 40 nodes, the entire US and everything else in Polygon crapped out. And so we made the decision to move to Ethereum, which we thought of doing anyway, because it will help us become a blue chip project. But it's then the gas fees yesterday, literally all of my panic kicked in. And then I found a tool that it literally texts you when gas is below a certain amount so you can do your transactions. And
yeah, and I was texting people on your behalf too. I was sending Twitter comments when it went down. I think it was $16 or something like that.
yeah, now it's like, yeah, I've literally
Wow.
minted for $15-16, which is great because we are optimized for gas, but it's, when gas is 250, it's 250. So you just got to wait.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little disappointed we didn't sell out 10K in one day, like many other projects, but we also we're launching to the mainstream versus launching to, big crypto whales. So as much as I would like to have some whales, the whole point is to build a huge thriving community. So it's a little different launch pattern, and it is, out of our nonprofit. So it's going to be amazing is all I can say. I'm really super exciting and I'm getting great response. People are getting their Foxies and they're like, oh my God, they're so cute. And so we have we're doing the little hats that are on the Foxies. We're going to do a little children's line of that and some plushies. And right now we're working on some kind of inspiring entrepreneurial, make your own adventure books for girls.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So we have a bunch of different avenues that we're driving it out to become, not Barbie. How about that? Not Barbie.
Well, I'm a writer from way back, so if you want some help, just give me a shout.
Oh my God, yes, please.
If you're making an NFT Barbie that's like cool for women, I'll do marketing for it, or you can use my whole network too. It's just like 20 people, but sounds
I
good.
would absolutely love that. Thank you. I have I definitely need marketing. What's really interesting, the biggest eye-opening piece, and every founder is going to discover this along the way. The reason that you normally do focus groups, and I thought I had done the focus groups appropriately. I thought my audience were female founders. And this is what's really important when you're designing a project. You got to know your audience. I thought my audience would be female founders because we have this whole incubator accelerator grants program. I thought all the female founders would want to get in. Nope, it's daddies with daughters. Daddies with daughters. 90% of our holders are daddies with daughters.
Right, because the
Now,
dads are ready for the tech, whereas maybe not as many women in percentages yet, but they've got the daughters and they understand the importance.
exactly. They totally get the mission statement. The whole idea is, if you want your daughter to aspire to be a supermodel, you're probably not going to see the benefit. But if you want your daughter to aspire to be an independent, powerful, high self-esteem woman, this is the play. And they just absolutely love it.
Right, and I love it,
So,
but I don't even know it, but it sounds great. I saw you before, but yes.
Oh yeah, we're pals with Adrian for a while now, and I can tell you this project is super excellent, and you should definitely get involved. And I think it's really important too because not only is it creating new opportunities for girls, but also it's creating a new workforce for this business world that's booming right now and is just hungry for talent. I mean, there
Yeah.
is a literally insatiable need for talent right now in this space. So anything that we can do to get our young women ready to jump into that space, we should do.
And the other thing is, we are suffering from a lack of people, uh, blockchain developers in particular, right? And so they're very expensive. And what nobody seems to grasp is that all of these women out there who are, in third world countries who are working for $5 to $10 an hour as developers who do websites and mobile apps and all this other stuff, they already know Rust, they know Node.js, they know JavaScript, they can already program. They're literally ripe for Solana, and Solidity is not that hard, and it's like the mostly common language because everything's an Ethereum based machine, virtual machine. But getting these women to learn how to be blockchain developers when it's such a tiny pivot, then we solve the problem of not being able to find developers, which is hindering our ability to create these web3 projects. So that's part of what we're doing is we're giving them all of the baseline education in how to do blockchain and understand what blockchain is used for and what you don't need to use it for, and then also doing an entire web3 curriculum so that people can actually pivot over to web3 much more quickly and much more easily. And then you have all these female founders that are struggling and they have these great ideas and they only need a tiny little bit of extra in their roadmap and their utility and their functionality, and then boom, I swear these investors, it's crazy. This guy was like, I'm going to tokenize water, and he raised $5 million. I'm
Right,
like, that's
right.
ridiculous.
You're
You know what I
preaching,
mean?
and I want to help get the money to people like you and me, so that we can make bigger, scale up. Like, I mean, you don't need any help from me in terms of like someone's like, oh, you should get involved with your project. Like, I look at your project like just for a second. Like, I hear how you're speaking. Like, I see that you have 15,000 followers, 50,000 followers on Twitter. Even if half of them are Russian bots, still a lot.
No, no, no.
So
They're
I
Tony
know, I
Robbins
need to say that.
fans.
I need to say that. It's all good.
No, no,
I
no.
know, I
Literally,
know they're
they're
real. I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah, go.
no, they're Tony Robbins fans. So
Oh,
Tony
okay.
Robbins followed me when he only followed 200 people
Oh, okay.
back in 2008 when I was doing the Curing Unemployment tour, and he
Oh,
followed me, and then he retweeted me, and like 40,000 people followed
wow.
me, and I was like, what just happened?
No, but I'd love to have you as like a mentor advisor, like an hour a month or something, like for my stuff, because it's very tangential. But
Sure,
that's up to you. But yeah, like you can come in
happy.
my disc. Great, yeah, get in my Discord. I got Signal is where we communicate, or here, or Twitter, or whatever. But yeah, I'm trying to do different things and media things and whatever, and find investors for blockchain. But yeah, I'm about like everything that you're saying, and yeah, it's just wild. Like exactly what you're saying is what I've been saying. Like, is that like every day, like with matters of business is there's 5 million here and 200 million there for like dumb shit, you know,
Dumb
and
shit,
dumb shit.
seriously. And
I
female
need,
founders don't get funded. I mean,
For reals.
I had a dating app, and this kid in his college dorm room raised $2.8 million for a dating app. Trademark infringed my name, but it didn't suck. So I sold him my name because I wasn't launched yet. But literally like $2.8 million for a college kid in his dorm room. And I had been trying to get fundraised, and they're like, oh, yeah, we can't invest in dating, can't invest in dating. And he raises $2.8 million. And I had this conversation with him. He's like 21. And I said, it's because you're a boy. He goes, I know. And it sucks. But I'm happy to introduce you to everybody. And I'm like, I'm 53
I
and a
don't know.
female
Yeah,
with
it
a
could be
badass
that. It
background,
could be. It
but
could be. I mean, yeah, could
I
be.
don't have a penis. And apparently that's important.
I'm
So we're
skeptical that
trying to
that's the
shift that.
reason, like totally, but I'm sure that it can.
It did definitely contributed.
I think that the main thing in that conversation to me strikes out as like because he didn't raise it for like a dating thing, right? He raised it for
He
some
did.
water. Oh, he
No, no,
did.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
he
He
did do it
literally,
for.
oh no, it was a
Oh, okay.
dating
So you
app.
wanted
I
to do
owned,
dating, he wanted to do it, but they gave him the money. Okay,
right.
so then there's your point. Okay.
Yeah, he did a dating app. It's called Lolly, and it's Tinder meets TikTok. It's not. It doesn't suck.
I've thought
So
about,
that
yeah, I've had people talk about this who do metaverses, and I've thought about it. So how does it work? Because it's like video dating where you swipe yes or no, because we've had that idea, but I'm
no,
sure somebody's
mine
doing it. Yeah.
Mine we renamed as Smart Dates, and basically it matches you based on sexual compatibility, not geolocation and photo. And the reason that we did that is because women over the age of 35, we're kind of in the we're in the why bother category. And then when you hit, 45 and you have enough bad dating experiences where you've gone out with the wrong person, you're in the long-term parking lot of why bother. So just getting you to go on a date when you know you could binge watch
So
Netflix,
is there
it's
two
like it.
dating things now? There's yours and his?
Yeah. So
Okay, so what
mine
does
is
his do?
mine
Because I'm
is
more
still
curious
totally
than
different.
that. What does his
What?
do? Because I like the video aspect. You said TikTok.
Yeah, it's
How's
Tinder
his
meets
how's his
TikTok.
works? How's that
So
work?
so you basically do like TikTok, and so you see videos and personality and stuff like that,
Oh,
and
okay.
then
So it's
swipe like Tinder.
it's Hinge with videos.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
got it.
The old Hinge was the best dating app ever. It was your single friends of your Facebook friends. That was genius.
But the thing about Hinge that they are right now, and I think that they're being pretty successful, is a few things. Like, yeah, you're right. It started out as like, yeah, just like Facebook started out at colleges. Hinge started out as you need an invite or it's just your friends or whatever nonsense. But now Hinge is open to everyone. And now what Hinge is it's kind of like OkCupid reduced. It's basically like there's still this swiping, which OkCupid introduced. It's all very interesting because obviously we all want to match up, we all want to fuck, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a massive market. It's important and also like has to do with our future because we're breeding. So it's very interesting. But what I want to make is not Hinge with video or what you're doing, which sounds like sexuality harmony or whatever, which is cool. I think the filters are really important and like aren't explored enough. Like OkCupid started them and they kind of have good ones, but their site kind of sucks, obviously. But yeah, but I want to do just like it's some kind of where it's like video, like you're online, you're talking to them, and then you can like swipe them away alongside filters. So you should have filters like I'm hetero or I want this or that or whatever you want. And then it should be like you're in the video and like you can click their profile when you chat or something like that, where it's like these people are ready to speak right now. And it's like here's their little bio and like click now to
Yep,
speak. Something with video because what's
we
funny
have
is
that.
that yeah, okay, I'm sure that there's versions of it and maybe one of those will be the winner. But yeah, I think that could be good maybe video.
Well, my thing about the not wasting time, ours is exclusionary. So you set your heat index so that what are you looking for? And most women set it for an 8.5, which is a long-term potential. So it literally looks at your core values and all these other things. And the other piece of it is that it's an AI matchmaker. So you really do tell it all the truth, but it's not like publicly there. Like
Right.
the most
It's like okay.
honest website is Adult Friend Finder, but no women wants to be on there. But you still need to know, are you compatible? Because if you're not compatible, why bother going out on a date and starting a
Yeah. No,
Okay, I
that's
want to
interesting. I want
introduce. Hold on, I want to introduce
to at some
Pascal.
point.
He's got a venture in the NFTs, DeFi, and DAO space. Pascal, want to tell us a little bit about? We were actually featuring you in the newsletter this week.
Yes, HuntTV is a blockchain-based protocol dedicated to watch and earn rewards. We will launch the company and the platform very soon. Our incubator is Fairroom Network. I'm French. Hello from Paris. Hello, everyone. And I'm the founder and CEO of HuntTV. The token will be named HeTV. The co-founder is Mariana Danilovic. And the team is now very involved in this project with 7 persons, 2 advisors from Fairroom Network. Fairroom Network is specialized in cross-bridge blockchain platform. The team, yes, is with the CTO based also in France and 2 other persons based in Los Angeles for the development of the licensing partnership. Our proposal is very simple. We want people who watch content on the platform HuntTV. It will be a system based on the audience and on the time spent every day. The idea is to create a new audience measurement measurement with 20 minutes per day and 400 minutes per month. This is the first business model, stream to earn. The second one is about refer to earn. You will invite your friends and your community to watch the content on Earn TV. By example, your last favorite movies. And in this case, you will earn tokens, so you will earn ETV tokens. And the third one is about add top tier content to the platform and create content to the platform on the platform. And this is also a new business model for the B2B approach with the producers and right holders. These tokens will also give the possibility to have a VIP access to content. This is has a Clubhouse for private event and private moment. And we have 5,000 hours of content already deal with different studios like Warner Bros, Sony Pictures, Shoreline Entertainment, and a lot of other producers. And we also have a partnership with smart TV manufacturers. For the moment, I can't say the name, but we also have a partnership with Magnite, the ad serving programmatic platform. And we will be happy to see you on the platform very quickly. You can now already register to the pre-sales on our whitelist on earntv.io. We will be happy to give you more news very quickly. Thanks for your time, Mariana. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Yeah, and the Medium article that we included in the newsletter about Earn TV also has, I think, attached a video about the project, and also kind of can show you where to go to learn more, to read the white paper, etc.
Yes.
And Frank, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, yes, I'm Frank, and I'm all about the metaverse. So I'm very big in the virtual real estate and in super world as well, and I'm into DeFi and everything really. So I'm loving the conversation. Really excited about the way that especially the area of NFTs is moving in the world of music, because I think as time goes on, people are going to find new ways to change the music and the entertainment industry. So any project that is based around that, I love to see the progress within them, because I think that is where things are moving.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Another article we talk about this week was about the DAO as one of the major concepts in 2022. And I'm getting quite a few questions about DAOs in this last couple of weeks. It seems that not just some of these layer one, layer two networks are structured as DAOs, not some of these NFT drops are kind of creating a DAO, but a lot of the investment funds, things that we consider, real estate investment funds or venture investment funds, are creating these DAOs as a way to allow members of the community to, participate in the funding of ventures. And I think this concept is here to stay, as all of the major institutions are actually trying to enter the space. So the DAO concept, has been around for a few years, but the success of these DAOs is really about the way that they're structured and then the way that they're managed. And at the moment, some of the management is very challenging, and even some of the structuring is very challenging. Of course, as you extrapolate into the future, just like what Adrienne was talking about with her dating app, you will be using AI for the management of these DAOs, and they're basically, AI would be managing the smart contracts, and therefore, as an organizational concept, it's here to stay. Many people think of it, and I thought of it really as just another kind of legal organization to think through once you have your business model and once you know what problem you're solving. But now it's become sort of a key strategic component on planning how to organize your business, not just from the legal perspective, but from the funding perspective, from the revenue generating perspective, and from the participation of the community perspective. It is a strategic advantage to create a strong, well formulated DAO.
I
So,
agree 1000%. I'm the co-founder of the Billionaire Zombies Club DAO, and we actually launched the DAO after the 10K generative mint was sold out, after the Discord already had, at the time, like 26,000 people. I think we got rid of a bunch of inactives, so it's down to like 17,000. But let me tell you, if you do not pre-plan your structure and how the community is going to participate, transitioning them later, you don't know if the community that you have developed are actually DAO centric. Meaning, like, we didn't know when we were doing this, it was all, a great idea, structured everything, got it all together, launched it, didn't realize that a good chunk of people that had ever minted, it was their very first mint that they'd ever done. They were super excited, but they were also 13 to 20 years old. So you have to look at, if your community is going to do certain things, you need to train them from the very beginning so that you're attracting the community that will do certain things. That's all I want to put in there, is that the structure is fabulous. It does spread out the workload if you do a bounty program to give people rewards for participation and contribution, but you need to set that up ahead of time so that your community knows what's going to be expected of them.
I think too, a DAO is a place where if you incent people that are going to get involved with your project, it's a way that people who maybe don't have a lot of money can get started in this space safely and generate some income that they can use to invest in other projects. I think that's a really important aspect of DAOs that a lot of people don't realize.
and also geographic issues do play a component in a DAO. People think of a DAO as sort of being, not tied to a geography. But just like doing any business, if you're actually doing business in a certain jurisdiction, you have to comply with the regulations of that jurisdiction. And the fact that it's a DAO doesn't exclude you from those. So the complication that issues from the fact that a lot of the DAOs are not thinking through this is definitely something that will have to be fixed as the space develops. But if you're thinking through your approach to creating a DAO, realize you could create a DAO in Wyoming. It's not necessarily the best format on planet Earth, but it exists. Other jurisdictions will allow you to create one. But then, as you're doing a business in a jurisdiction that doesn't have one, you do have to reconcile with the regulations there.
Yeah, and that's a challenge because a lot of the regulations, even within specific jurisdictions, are changing. So that's really challenging to keep up with all of that. I think there's so many new job categories that I'm seeing that are opening up, and one of those is keeping track of all of the jurisdictional issues like you were talking about. There's also going to be, the concierges and the community managers that are going to help usher all of these projects forward. There's so many opportunities right now, particularly for young people, to get involved.
And if you think of a gaming that's happening in DAOs, right? Everybody that I know in the crypto space is creating some form of a gaming DAO, starting with an NFTs drop and then creating some play to earn kind of opportunities, right? Because that is one of more interesting business models that has emerged in 2021 in a big way, and certainly for this year. And so, and then of course, metaverse, play to earn inside metaverse, and the economic model of gaming inside this. It's all very, very exciting. But when you start thinking about these gaming DAOs, having been in the game development business before, games get developed over many, many years. So you have to really think through, what is going to be the run rate of these games developing. Now there's an NFTs drop. Now there's some great ideas for the game. Maybe even the guilds were formed. How long is it going to be till this is actually going to hit the market and you can actually use your NFTs in this game successfully? I know the Bored Apes Yacht Club did their game, but it's not this amazing success that everyone is sort of just enamored with at the moment.
Kevin,
Kevin,
did you have a
say something.
question or
I
comment?
didn't even know they had a game. That's literally,
Yeah.
this is my market, and I didn't even hear about it. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
launched and you can play it and it's a fun game, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, exactly. That's the point. Yeah.
Yes, hi, this is Kevin. I do have a question. It was brought up about jurisdiction for a DAO, and one state may be more favorable than another. Who's explored offshoring, and what is the opinion on that?
I have. So thankfully, I've been in for a very long time, and I've helped blockchain companies around the world and worked with the most amazing attorneys all over the world. So jurisdiction and where to domicile is one of my favorite topics. The issue is, if you live in the United States and you are going to have any ownership of it, you're likely going to end up being under the jurisdiction of the United States, whether you want to or not. So it depends on what you want to do with your DAO. So Wyoming is where most of us go because they have a Wyoming DAO LLC. The LLC can be owned by, a Swiss foundation, or you could domicile in Singapore or other countries that are blockchain friendly. But you're still going to want to have some kind of US representation to shield US people. And then you also need to make sure that you're abiding by all of the securities laws, because even if you are a DAO and even if you want to offshore someplace else, if they perceive what you're doing, like you're literally selling, a 520 by 520 Pantone color for $1 million, they're still going to look at that as an investment or potentially money laundering. So you need to have corporate shielding. So I always say it doesn't matter where you domicile. If any of your founders or a bulk of your users are in the United States, like say over 2%, 3%, you're going to want to have a Wyoming DAO LLC shielding you.
Great, thanks.
Also, you have to think through, the business model. And do you just, are you going to be dropping NFTs? Are you going to have a token? And then what would the DAO do, to manage all of these things? And, even though you set it up in a certain jurisdiction, it really matters what is the structure of that DAO and what is it used for. So, example, if you're creating a DAO to invest in early stage ventures, you're setting up a venture capital fund. Is that, is every jurisdiction going to be actually able to deal with something like that? No. And would every jurisdiction be acceptable of that kind of a structure, even though they have a DAO? So it becomes a little more complicated. I am seeing so many investment DAOs in the moment, and top tier VCs are investing in them. And fund of funds of the institutional investors that invest in venture funds are approving of them. They all just believe that this will be a huge market and that the regulation will sort of work itself out. But if you're starting one, you have to think about all these issues.
We're thinking about that for the grants program for Foxy's. So Foxy's has a DAO that's being developed right now. But again, all those that forethought of how are we going to do it, how are they going to vote, all of those kinds of things are really critical to do before you actually pull the trigger, because undoing something and redoing it later can be very nightmarish. So you have to be really, really clear with everything. And we're trying to make sure we dot all the I's and cross all the T's for the security compliance and all of that other stuff. And that's the other reason why, with that shield from the with an LLC, you really can um, do it better, because if you go in and you've got all of your documentation and you've intentionally done it as right as possible, if you make a mistake and you get the nasty gram from the SEC, you can usually, be given a couple, 30 days or 60 days or whatever to fix it. And you won't have a fine as long as your intentions are pure. So, but you really need a good securities lawyer if you're going to do an investment DAO. But it's a great opportunity right now.
Yeah, and if you look at Ideal Collab, they presented at Infiom, I think in 2020, and since that time, they created something called the syndicate, and they have top tier VCs in this syndicate. They created a layer protocol to set up these investment type DAOs, and or community, basically invested and community developed DAOs. And it's an interesting thing to look at because they have about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 investors in that early round, including a lot of the top tier VCs. So it's an experiment of whether this could be automated and or managed at that level. But the people behind it are very capable and have done a lot of great, launched a lot of great ventures in this space.
Vahid, did you have a question or a comment? Welcome.
Yes, Your Highness. The, good morning.
Good morning.
Um, I love it. I love it. I just came from a 2-day, semi convention down in LA. NFT. It's called Summermint, Supermint,
Super
Supermint.
Mitch, yep. That's
Yeah,
right in our neck of the woods.
yeah, loved it, loved it. My question would be, if you're having a regular, normal, average, ordinary NFT project with a utility, what would be the best protection? Would a Delaware corporation be enough, or do you go, if you're not giving any specific token, or you're not giving any type of dividends, or we're not utilizing it as an investment purpose, we're not tokenizing anything down the line, would a regular Delaware corp cover you?
I would say I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV sometimes, but I have a lot of experience. And the fact that you even have a corporate structure built around your NFT is phenomenal, and probably in the top 10%, because most people just launch it and they end up launching it in their own name. And a corporation, especially a Delaware corporation, which is a lot of people's favorites, give you far more tax advantages than having to do everything as a Schedule C on your 1040. So good job. At the very least, a Delaware corporation. If you're not going to do a DAO, then you don't need a DAO LLC, and just run it like a real business. And the NFT is your product, and you should be good. Not a lawyer, not legal advice.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of lawyers here today to give you, um, legal advice on that one. But I was at Supermint. I want to give a shout out to Supermint. I almost didn't make it because I was busy until Sunday at 1 o'clock. But Brad Turner, who was promoting the venture, did a great job and pinged me with all sorts of pictures from the event. So I ended up going there, and I thought the guys did an amazing job. They had really good speakers. They had a really good setup, and just kudos to them for creating an in-person event in LA. So that was fun.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to have some more stuff coming up pretty soon, so I'm excited about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
very
are.
good.
And Brad Turner does amazing events. I MC his events sometimes, and they are great. And the people in the room are phenomenal. Uh, it is amazing how many mega investors he gets to show up whenever he does an event. So he does a spectacular job, and the speakers are always great.
Yeah, I learned a few things on how to do some marketing on LinkedIn from him. I kind of cornered him a little bit. Hopefully he still likes me. But yeah, I was asking him very detailed questions, and it was one of my first events that I got out of the house. And then after I came back, my wife chopped me. She's like, "What were you guys talking about 12 hours about NFTs?" And I was like, "I'm networking." getting phone numbers to talk to people. She's all like, for 12 hours, you were talking about JPEGs. What's going on? So anyway, she thought I was probably cheating or something like that. And I did it the next day. So hopefully she won't divorce me. It will be expensive one.
You were cheating with those chocolate chip cookies, weren't you? I bought
Yeah,
2
no,
of
but
them. 2
you
boxes
know,
bags.
it was cool to see a lot of attorneys. There were two attorneys in the audience sitting, and they were just there to learn what NFTs are, and they weren't part of the panelists. So I saw a very wide diversification of individuals there. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, you ladies, whenever you're there, let us know. We'll pick you guys up and we'll pick your brain while we do the driving to get you guys to the event. We'd love to connect.
I drove myself. It was really interesting. So in terms of reason why, one of the reasons why I went was to find some Discord channel managers, as every project I'm working on right now desperately needs a Discord channel manager, and of course other creative components of it, and get in terms of attracting communities. So if anybody knows of great Discord channel managers, back channel me. I spoke to a bunch of people there who have done quite a few NFTs launches to date. Um, and it seems to me that the word was basically that Discord was a 24/7 job that a lot of people did out of their, pure passion for the project and for the space. But if you know of good ones, let me know, because almost everyone I know is looking for one. So thank you, Vahid, for that question. Thank you, Adrian and Jeanette and Pascal and Frank and Kevin for participating today. Tomorrow we have some amazing content, so you have to come to the salon, because we're going to discuss the the venture capital market with Galaxy Digital. And we have Dash, which is one of the original 2014 launched forks of Bitcoin, digital cash. We have the head of business development coming to tell us about all of their progress, and they've done some amazing business development in the space. We have a project that's launched that's like a Pokemon Go on Super World, was also one of our presenters last year, but they've gotten into this direction. And we know that Pokemon Go was the only venture on this earth that went to 1 billion, I think, in the shortest amount of time in terms of revenue. So that's another interesting presenter. Um, so we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 12:30, and we will have a discussion with all of the CEOs of these ventures. Oh, I almost forgot Ripples, which is a really amazing kind of metaverse project. That's our 4th presenter tomorrow. So we will see you at Create Unicorns with DeFi, NFTs, DAO, Metaverse tomorrow at 1:30 here at the Clubhouse. And the event is free. You just have to go to the Infiom website, click on Eventbrite, and sign up for the salon. So thanks, everyone. Really appreciate all of you
Thank
today.
you. Thanks so much.
Thank
Thanks a lot,
you.
Mariana.
Thank
Bye
you.
Thank you.
now.
Bye bye.
Bye.